Have you ever noticed something strange? The people who always say, "I'm fine," are often the people struggling the most. Not the people who complain, not the people who ask for help, the people who smile, the people who laugh, the people who always seem to have everything under control. And that's exactly why nobody notices. Because when someone spends enough time pretending they're okay, eventually everyone starts believing it, including them. Nobody wakes up one day and decides, "I'm going to hide everything I feel." Usually, it starts much smaller. Maybe they opened up once and got ignored. Maybe they were judged. Maybe they were told to stop being sensitive. Or maybe they learned that whenever they showed pain, people became uncomfortable. So little by little, they stopped talking, not because they don't need support, but because keeping everything inside starts feeling safer than being disappointed again. And after enough time, it becomes a habit. And honestly, pretending you're fine actually works, at least for a while. It helps you get through work, through responsibilities, through difficult days. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to have uncomfortable conversations. You don't have to feel exposed. For a moment, it feels easier. That's why so many people keep doing it, because the mask works at first. But here's where things start to change. Every time you ignore what you're feeling, you teach yourself a lesson. You teach yourself that your feelings don't matter, that your struggles should stay hidden, that your pain isn't worth talking about. And eventually, you stop lying to other people. You start lying to yourself. You tell yourself, "It's not a big deal. Other people have it worse. I'll be fine. I don't need help." Over and over again, until one day, those words stop sounding like reassurance and start sounding like excuses. The problem is, ignored emotions don't disappear. They just go somewhere else. They show up as stress, as anxiety, as exhaustion, as feeling numb, as losing motivation for things you once enjoyed. And because you've convinced yourself you're fine, you never address the real problem. You just keep carrying more and more weight, smiling, nodding, saying everything is okay, even when it clearly isn't. The mask protects you from being vulnerable, but it also prevents you from healing. The truth is, you can only carry something heavy for so long. Eventually the cracks start to show. Maybe it's burnout. Maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's complete emotional exhaustion. And suddenly people are surprised. They say, "But you seemed fine." And maybe you did. But appearing okay and being okay are not the same thing. You weren't fine. You were surviving. There's a difference. And here's something people rarely think about. Keeping everything to yourself doesn't just hurt you. It hurts the people who care about you too. Because while you're trying to protect them from your struggles, you're also shutting them out. The people who truly care about you don't expect you to be perfect. They don't expect you to have everything figured out. They just want the chance to be there for you. But if you never let anyone see what's going on, they never get that chance. Sometimes the people who love you most feel helpless. Not because they don't care, but because you never let them in. A lot of people think vulnerability is weakness, but think about it. Which takes more courage? Pretending everything is okay, or looking someone in the eye and saying, honestly, I'm struggling? Anyone can hide. Anyone can build walls. But being honest about your pain, that takes courage. Every single time. Because vulnerability isn't weakness, it's trust. And trust is one of the strongest things a person can give. Now, maybe you're thinking, that's easy to say, but I don't have anyone. And for some people, that's true. Not everyone has a support system. But even then, you don't have to carry everything in silence. Write your thoughts down. Record a voice note. Talk to a therapist. Join a support group. Speak honestly to yourself. Because the goal isn't finding the perfect person immediately. The goal is breaking the habit of keeping everything trapped inside your own head. Before you go, remember these 3 things. First, your feelings don't disappear just because you ignore them. What you bury today usually finds a way to come back tomorrow. That's why healing starts with acknowledging what's there instead of pretending it isn't. Second, being vulnerable with the right people isn't weakness. It's trust. And the people who genuinely care about you would rather know the truth than watch you suffer in silence. And third, stop focusing so much on looking okay. Focus on becoming okay. Because the goal was never to wear the strongest mask. The goal was to no longer need one. And sometimes, the first step toward healing is simply being honest about how you're really doing.